As you can see from the aforementioned clip, our group believes that drones can be beneficial to many parts of society. I will be discussing the use of drones in first responders. Keith will be discussing the use of drones in agriculture. Tyler will be discussing drone use in the military. Jason will be discussing drone use in geography. And Dominic will be discussing the future of drones. In my research, I have found that drones can be just as useful in the private sector as they can in the military sector. For example, their uses in first responders. For example, AeroVironment Incorporated got the first drone certified by the FAA for commercial use, and they use it to monitor weather and oil spills in the Arctic region. It's efficient, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly. In general, the public feels great about drones. The more educated they are, the more they seem to support the idea of using drones, especially for first responders. Incidents of shooting at drones have been reported, but they're few and far between, and it's now a federal crime to do so. According to a poll conducted by the Aerospace Industries Association, 54% of Americans support their uses for first responders, for including, but not limited to, weather, border patrol, disaster response, and especially 88% of Americans support it for the use of search and rescue. The benefits for first responders are too numerous to count. They can create and complete tasks efficiently and safely. It's great for high-risk law enforcement and firefighting, as well as search and rescue, and it can conduct widespread catastrophic disaster monitoring to ID victims who are necessarily needing help. The economic impact of UAVs would be off the charts. It would create more than 70,000 jobs, which would be expected to increase exponentially over the next few years. Drones are more efficient and require less manpower. In conclusion, I believe that drones have proven to be very helpful with first responder use, and they're backed by public opinion. So now I'm going to turn it over to Keith, who's going to talk about the use of drones in agriculture.
Thank you, Hannah. Now to talk about a way drones are already affecting our everyday lives, something you may not have thought about. Agriculture. That's right, the food on our plate. Farmers are already using drones to overfly their fields. Using infrared cameras, they're able to see where they may have issues with irrigation or where they may have a problem with insects. But drones are already increasing the production that farmers are able to get out of their fields. Another aspect of agriculture would be livestock. From cows or pigs, you have many animals out in a field. The farmers cannot always keep track of where they're all at. Some farmers have thousands of acres with livestock roaming them. Drones allow them to keep better track of where their animals are, to see if they have predators they may be taking a loss from, or also to find out if they have new young being born. The last and final section of agriculture I'd like to talk about is one not everybody thinks about all the time, but fishing agriculture. That's right, most of the fish on your plate come from fishermen. Well, fishermen are using drones to fly overhead and help spot fish. Whereas in the past, they had to use many techniques and know where to go and a lot of luck, now they're able to increase their production by using drones to help them spot. So there's many aspects where drones are affecting your daily life that you may not even have thought about it, and they're already doing it. There's many more things that can happen with drones and how they will be helping our life. And to speak more on it is Tyler. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. The two most popular drones right now in the military arsenal would be the NQ-1B and its larger predecessor, the NQ-9 Reaper. The NQ-1B is roughly the length of a Cessna 172, has a max ceiling altitude of 25,000 feet, and a total flight time of 24 hours. Under each wing, it can carry one Hellfire missile, and it also carries one payload that can provide full motion video. It can do intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, strike capabilities, friendly overwatch, search and rescue, you name it. Fast forward to its predecessor, the NQ-9 Reaper. That is much larger than the NQ-1. It's roughly the size of an F-16 fighter. Has a max ceiling altitude of 50,000 feet. And under each wing, it can carry 4 Hellfire missiles total for a combined total of 8 and a total of 2 500-pound bombs. Like the NQ-1, the NQ9 can provide the same capabilities, except with more munitions, and it's much faster. Fast forward into the future, what you could potentially see is manned aircraft, say an F-16, with a drone wingman. And what this could do is take a lot of the onboard sensors, payloads, munitions from the F-16 and be put on an RPA. And that way, the F-16 will be lighter, it can be quicker, more agile, and maybe potentially stealth capabilities with maybe newer aircraft. Also, in unknown airspace, the fighter pilot can control this drone to have it go into this airspace if air defense capabilities of that area are unknown, and that way he does not put himself in harm and only puts the RPA in the way of the air defense. Thank you for your time. On to you now, Jason.
Thank you, Tyler. Unmanned air vehicles are growing ever so popular today. Besides being used as toys and for military use, UAVs are starting to be utilized for the purpose of geography, which includes mapping, emergency response, natural disasters, and physical attributes of land and sea masses. UAVs are starting to fly in areas where it is hard for man to get to. These UAVs are being equipped with cameras which will take live feed and pictures of areas that have been uninhabited for decades, and researchers are analyzing this data to see what geographic attributes are in these regions. For instance, to see if the area could be inhabited by man, or if there is any chance that there are natural resources that have not been collected yet. Same applies for mapping out our world's coastal regions. UAVs are also being used as first responders to natural disasters. Whether man-made or created by Mother Nature, UAVs are being used for firefighting, earthquakes, and flooding. When these disasters occur, it may not be possible for first responders to access certain areas in person until the area is safe. UAVs offer a method for accumulating data from strategic vantage points and allow first responders to analyze areas if there are people in need of help or if the damage from these disasters poses another threat. For example, if there is a large forest fire, UAVs could be used to determine the total area of the fire's current path, and the damage acquired by the fire. If there was a flood, UAVs could be deployed to where cars and other motor vehicles could not go, to be able to see the damage and help save lives of innocent people. For earthquakes, UAVs could fly over the damaged areas which would not be feasible by vehicles, and to be used to analyze the wreckage and see what damage has been done, and again, help first responders save lives. With the popularity of drones, government and companies are starting to utilize unmanned air vehicles more and more for different functions, geography being one of them. UAVs can be very helpful in mapping geographic areas, whether land or sea, and beneficial when it comes to natural disasters. Up next, we have Dominic, who will be discussing the future of drones.
I'd like to thank Jason for his excellent presentation for drones and geography. Jason mentioned some important information on drones being used for geography, and I'll be tying some similar concepts into the future uses of drones in space. Future drones that will be used for space exploration are being developed now by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, one of which is an unmanned wing-shaped drone that will travel to Mars alongside a new rover. The Pratt-LM is the first of its kind. The main mission of Pratt-LM will be to find potential landing locations for American astronauts to land on Mars. The Pratt-LM will send high-resolution mapping images back to Earth to give astronauts an advantage even before they arrive to set up base and reside comfortably. Essentially, Pratt-LM will be doing things similar to the geography uses on Earth, but it will be conducting these duties on Mars. The reason for conducting land surveying of Mars is due to the absence of a global positioning system. Pratt-LM will in essence create a mapping system that astronauts can use to find their way on the surface of Mars for specific long-distance missions of up to about 20 miles. Not only will the Pratt-LM conduct land surveying, but it will also have equipment on board to detect radiation and other environmental atmospheric conditions to study how habitable Mars is for astronauts and what precautions they might need to take before they arrive. This future drone will be sent to Mars in the 2020s. I'd like to thank Hannah, Keith, Tyler, and Jason for their amazing contributions to this presentation on the uses of UAV drone technology, with improvements of first responders, agriculture, military, and geography. we can make the world a safer and better place. In the near future, we'll be paving the way for astronauts to have drones alongside them and to assist in the most needed situations.